JB, I don't know about you, but I am a little tired from this weekend. And don't get me wrong, I enjoyed every minute of spending time at Springfield, spending time with you at Brockport and everything else. But boy, it was definitely a haul throughout this weekend getting things together. Glad to see you back, though, in one piece down in Florida.
Yeah, and it was a really fun full weekend. A little too much sun for me on Saturday, but no skin has started peeling just yet, so I think I'm okay. Just a little red from the turf field, and maybe next year if we do something like this or later this season, we'll have like some, I don't know, tent or something, or at least wear sunscreen.
Well, I doubt it's going to be 90 degrees and hot like it was on Saturday. It was incredibly hot.
Really, really hot up there. And it persisted throughout the rest of the weekend. My wife and I spent the next 2 days in upstate New York, and 90-degree weather. It's like we never left Florida.
Well, listen, this segment that we're posting, or episode, or part episode, we got to come up with terms for these things because Facebook's becoming very particular about this video episode of whatever. So eventually we'll get it right. By probably season 13, we'll get it right. But
sounds good.
We are going to post interviews that you may have already seen. One that you definitely have not seen yet, and we think of it as our highlight interview. I shouldn't say it because his head's going to get very large in the process, bigger than his stomach possibly, but you'll see what I mean about that. But Friday night, for instance, you were not with me quite yet. You were in Buffalo, and I was in Springfield, and you were enjoying Niagara Falls, and I was enjoying a football game. And there was a player who had a lights-out performance, 22 carries, 247 yards, 6 touchdowns. Chad Shade, the Pride quarterback. In brief, before we go to his interview, what did you think of that performance? Did you expect that kind of performance from Chad Shade?
Well, I expected that Chad would have a good game. You know, like I've said on prior broadcasts, I mean, he did fill in and start for the Pride back in 2016 when Jake Eglantine went down with an injury. So we knew he was capable of playing and winning games, but he really had a coming out party with those six touchdowns. We thought maybe we'd see Hunter Belzo crank off some runs, maybe Josh Thomas, the fullback, but Chad was reading what Western New England was giving him, and once he tucked and run, nobody caught him.
Speaking of Belzo, we have been forbidden from bringing Belzo back on the show by his teammates. I'm not sure what's going on there, but Belzo perhaps has a 5-touchdown performance of his own. I will have to break that promise, obviously. We'll see what happens, but Hunter, who I thought fared decently on our show, despite our facial reactions to certain times that Coach Cerasuolo picked on him about throughout the week, apparently, did fine. But his teammates are ribbing him still about that interview. So let's see what they think about Chad Shade's interview that I did with him after the game on Friday night. Frank Rossi here with Chad Shade. Chad, 22 carries, 247 yards, 6 touchdowns. That's what I have on my stat sheet. What did it feel like out there for you tonight?
Oh, it was a great feeling. I mean, that's all credit to the guys up front and the guys in the backfield making blocks. They make my job easy because they spring me with the holes that they create. So, I mean, that's all credit to them and the work that they do.
Western New England sprints out to 7-0 lead early. What were you telling your team when that happened, though?
That was on me. I got to have strong hands. I fumbled that ball, and our defense picked us up. And that's what we talk about, is picking each other up offensively and defensively. And we didn't lose any confidence when we fumbled the ball and they scored there. We went down, we responded, and I think that just kind of kickstarted the rest of the game for us.
Got a little chippy at certain points. I mean, this is a rivalry game, across town, literally. And what was your feeling here? I mean, was it kind of spurring you on a little bit more as the chippiness was going higher and higher in this game?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we like to keep our composure over here, but obviously playing Western New England, great football team over there across the city, we want to be able to keep our composure, though, and stuff. And, at times we did lose it, but we regrouped and we just focused on what we had to do to win the ball game.
So Jake Eglantine was, I'm trying to see if he's still behind us somewhere. I'm also looking for Nick Bainter, making sure he's not waving or something back there. Anyway, Eglantine was here to root you on. That had to be a good feeling to see him here.
Oh, my God, it's awesome. So many guys came back. And seeing Jake, I talked to Jake after the Hudson game last year, and he goes to me, this is your team now. And, and just out of the quarterback position, obviously a leadership position. along with all the other guys on our team. And just coming from him, playing with him for 2 years was really nice. And then seeing him here today with a bunch of the other guys was a really good feeling.
He's complaining a little bit, though, because Jordan Wilcox has scored all the touchdowns he would have gotten. He could have challenged your 6, I think, at some point, he feels, but we'll never know, I guess. Nonetheless, Wilcox is not here. Any message for Jordan out there?
Jordan, I hope you're having fun doing your thing, man. We miss you here, and, everything that you guys did for us is why we are the program that we are today.
I'm going to let you go enjoy it, but first you got to give shout-outs. Go ahead.
Absolutely. I want to shout out my family, my mom, my dad, my brother, my sister. I would love to make a shout out to just this whole team for the effort that they put in tonight, and obviously our offensive line for doing their thing and absolutely clearing up everything in the trenches for us.
Including Bainter?
Including Bainter.
Oh, geez. We can't give them all the credit for that, though. No. Anyway, congratulations. 42-21 victory tonight. 1-0, 11 straight regular season victories for Springfield now.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
And that was Chad Shade, quarterback of the Springfield Pride. His coach had to be pretty happy. What do you think?
I mean, like I said, it was a big night. Certainly a solid debut, coming out party of sorts, and certain kind of putting, the New England, the NewMac, and other teams that are going to be on their schedules kind of on notice that, the Pride has not slowed down. I mean, obviously Wilcox and Eglantine are two huge pieces of last year's great undefeated regular season, but looks like they're just reloading there in Springfield.
And the man who's blessed to have that reloading going on right now is head coach Mike Cerasuolo. Let's talk to him, or I did talk to him, I should say. Let's play that interview and come back. Frank Rossi with a familiar face to our show, Coach Mike Cerasuolo of Springfield College, 42-21. Coach, a little bit erratic to start the game. You spot a 7-0 lead to Western New England.
Yeah.
A little bit of a fumble-itis to begin. And what did you say to inspire Chad after that? Because he was no looking back after that point.
Yeah, Chad obviously is a great athlete, two-sport kid here at Springfield, tremendous representative of the college as a whole. And you don't have to say much. He's a competitor and he wants to perform well for his teammates. And so it's just like, all right, Chad, you ready? You got that one under your belt now, and here we go.
Were you fearing a little bit that your team may have underestimated Western New England because of all the changes going on in their lineup, their coaching staff, etc.? I mean, obviously it's a rivalry game, but were you still a little bit nervous about how your team would come out and respond?
No, not at all. Our kids, this has become a great rivalry, and Coach LeBeau, Coach Bresner do a great job over there. We knew that they were going to be prepared and ready to play, and just like our kids were. And again, I think both teams gave great effort on the football field tonight, and I think this is a great representation of Division III football in New England.
Your offensive line, we don't talk about them enough, but in the triple option offense, obviously it's the lifeblood. Great running back, sure, great quarterback, sure, but let's talk about that O-line.
Yeah.
You can name Bainter if you want. Go ahead. We'll let you get away with it tonight. But
he'll be behind us shortly.
I'm sure he will. There he is, actually, isn't he?
He's back there someplace. They did a great job tonight, as far as helping Chad out, as far as establishing the fullback game, and then that helps Chad on the perimeter, and then obviously open up the pitch game. Our wide receivers and halfbacks, we were doing some different things formationally to get them out on the perimeter, blocking a little bit. Coach Webster did an outstanding job, and the entire offensive staff putting the kids in a position to succeed, but ultimately the kids made the plays, and we're really happy about all the kids offensively and defensively. I mean, defensively they hung in there in that first half when we turned the ball over on a short field and then got a punt blocked, and they fought hard.
445 yards, but your defense did give up 355, some, let's say, late yardage, obviously, on a long drive by Western New England to make it 42-21. But defensively, are you concerned at all about giving up that many yards?
No, I think, again, this is a great football team. They've won a bunch of conference championships and going to the NCAAs. This is a solid football team. So, we're excited that we were able to pull out on a victory, and, again, really excited about how hard the kids played because, they got after us a little bit in that first half, and as far as time of possession and whatnot, and our defense was on the field for a long time. So I was really happy with how they responded, and they got a turnover, and then we turned it into points. So some good complementary football as well.
Jake Eglinton was here rooting on the team, a lot of other alumni. One guy that I know is near and dear to everybody here, though, Coach DeLong. Let's send him a shout-out, you and I both, because I know he's still a huge Springfield College fan, obviously.
Huge. He actually got involved in our recruiting presentation tonight up in the townhouse conference room, but obviously he's a tremendous mentor to me and to a lot of guys on this field right now. The seniors were his last class, so they were all going up to him before the game and then after the game as well. So it's always great having Coach DeLong around, and he's been a tremendous mentor to a lot of people here.
11 in a row in terms of regular season wins for you, sir. Congratulations. I know you don't want to see that streak end, and maybe it won't this season. We'll see what happens, but you got some good games coming up next, so I'll let you go enjoy this one in the meantime.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Coach. You know, we did the shout-out there with Coach Mike Cerasuolo and me on Friday night to Coach Mike DeLong, and Coach DeLong actually came downstairs afterward as I was packing things up. We had a good conversation about the old days in Salem, Virginia, and just things in general. Love talking to Coach DeLong, and it was one of those situations where people were asking me, "Oh, aren't you supposed to be in Brockport tomorrow?" I was like, "Yeah, but." You know, I'm okay schedule-wise. And then Coach DeLong comes downstairs, and I wanted to talk to him forever. And then I'm looking at my watch. I'm like, oh, boy, I got to get out of here. But Coach DeLong is just such a great historian of the game. I know he hates me for saying it like that, but it is what it is. And Coach Cerasuolo loves having him around. There is, you know, just such a mutual love of the game, of the team. Such a family there. For goodness sake, it is such a family.
They call it the brotherhood for a reason. But, Frank, did I see something going on behind you there in that interview? It seemed like there was somebody who was kind of maybe trying to get into the frame. What was going on with that, Frank?
You know, I didn't realize it myself until the next interview, which we have not played yet. And I wanted to save this one. Our friend Brian McGoffin has suggested to me that we will break all records here on In the Huddle in terms of viewership if we have an interview with this player. Now, this player I did not get shout-outs from. So this isn't officially a player interview. We'll have to have this player back later in the season to give shout-outs. My apologies, but maybe I did it by design to have him back. I don't know. Ladies and gentlemen, you've asked for him. We have not delivered it until this point. But, I mean, with the kudos he had gotten postseason and preseason,
preseason
we have to talk about him. Yeah, absolutely. Here is Nick Bainter, center for Springfield. Nick Bainter. Now, I'm very disappointed in you this season because we've had a couple Springfield interviews, and I'm looking in the background, and I don't see you waving. What's with that, man?
You know what? The only thing I can do is, you know, get up, get another rep. You know, how can I get better from now on? So I assure you, every time you're here, I'm going to be waving in the back.
Well, I need some footage for season 12 at the beginning of that show when we redo our intro. So come on, let's see your best Nick Bainter impression here.
All right.
Frank Rossi from Springfield College, and it was a 42-21 game here in favor of Springfield. They beat Western New England.
How was that?
That was a great job.
All right. Well, I got.
Like Nick?
Thank you.
So, I actually got.
Nick photobombed our Christmas card picture. You know that, right?
And you realize you're going to be in this video now.
So I actually did get in the.
I'm the best football mom ever.
Aw, she is actually.
Yeah.
Not his mom.
No, it's my roommate's mom.
Yeah, but she still is.
Oh, she's the best. I love going down to Jersey for the food. So, yeah. So I'm in. Yeah. Got to be big. So.
That's why we're behind your stomach.
Yeah.
Anyway, go ahead.
Yeah. So I did get in the one with you and Coach C. So don't worry.
Oh, now I got to look back at that, don't I?
Yeah.
I hate you. Yeah. Anyway, Nick Bainter, congratulations.
Hey,
you had a lot to do with the 6 touchdowns Chad had tonight.
Hey, you know what? We got a lot of guys out there that do a lot of great things. You know, Coach C and especially our scout team, they really help us out, help us get better every day. And, you know, it really goes out to them. They're the ones that make us work every day and get us better. And, again, we appreciate everything you guys do for us. And, you know, we try to do our best to give you guys a show. So
well, you certainly do for many reasons. But folks may not even realize this, but not only are you a good waiver in the background photo bomber, but what were you, second team center or something like that on D3Football.com's preseason list? You were somewhere in there, I remember. And so you are an exceptional player. So
I appreciate
congratulations on
Thank
that.
you so much.
But we will always know you for the photo bomb. I'm sorry.
All right. I appreciate that a lot. So thank you very much for having me.
Thank you. Well, yeah, there he was in the background, as you saw during the interview. There, we superimposed the moment of where he did his little and whatever else he was doing there. Yeah, it was something else. We've got material for next season's intro, that's for sure, and many other things, I'm sure.
That was great. Yep.
Oh,
we got him for one more year. He's only a junior, so way more entertainment to come.
Yeah, but for the one singular reason I'm living to do season 12 after just one show of season 11 is Nick Bainter's senior season. Okay, we've got to come back for that no matter what happens here this year.
Yeah,
so
for sure.
Springfield opens up 1-0. They have won 11 straight regular season games. The Hudson loss last year obviously still weighing on them a little bit in terms of coming back with a vengeance this season.
Yep.
We'll talk more about the game itself in our host chat segment, but overall, we've had two instances this weekend of looking at the games and saying, boy, we thought they'd be closer in terms of Western New England, Springfield, and Hobart, Brockport. We leave the game not knowing what to think. It was Western New England weaker than we thought they were, which Springfield stronger than we thought they were. Was Hobart weaker than we thought they were, or was Brockport stronger than we thought they were coming into that game? Jury is still very much out. First off, one more view on Western New England Springfield from you.
Well, I think we had the sense that Western New England might not be as strong as last year, just given some of the losses to graduation. It looks like they still have some playmakers on that team and can certainly contend at the top of the CCC, but against now it's beginning to turn into a sort of a powerhouse there up in New England and Springfield. And Frank, one of the games that we'll have to focus in on a little bit is the Kane home opener taking on Springfield, a very solid NJAC program that usually is filled with big, strong, fast athletes. Springfield got the better of them in their first matchup last year, but it's down in Jersey. If Springfield could come away with a win and even more of a dominant win, we might see more of these top 25 votes, which I think you even threw at them this past week.
Yeah, they landed as my number 25 team. Welcome to them in my ballot box on that one. And they are just mere points away from being the number 25 team overall in the country on the D3Football.com top 25 poll. A team that is squarely in my poll, though, or in my ballot and in the poll itself, is Brockport. I was actually asked a question on social media today when I released my. Yeah, I'm the guy that was last year saying they're a Final Four team. They deserve to be in the top four. I felt based on that. There was nothing else that made me think that they didn't deserve it based on how everything lined up. How they competed against Mary Hardin Baylor for 3 quarters of that game. Granted, the first quarter was a little bit of a disaster, but nothing else really happened in that game. Defensively, they were very good for the second, third, fourth quarters. So now this year, I started them at 8. I moved them to 7, and I'm taking flack for it. And look, it's going to be a slow roll up. You do not vault teams after 1 week from 8 to 4 very easily, unless something extreme happens. Beating Hobart in the style that Hobart was playing on Saturday is not that extreme event in my book because they just didn't look Hobart-esque. The trivia question I threw out to my friends at D3Football.com today was, what was the last team to go back-to-back undefeated in the regular season in the East region? And you know the answer, I think.
I do, huh?
2012, 2013, 2014, Hobart.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So
I thought it might be Del Val, but yeah, I do remember that Hobart run. It was a good one.
So, Hobart, I will check on that and make sure you're during this next interview that you're not wrong. But I believe we looked this up in Hobart, I thought was the correct answer. But you kind of forget about that after seeing a performance like you saw on Saturday. Things kind of get a little, I guess, jaded in your own head about the strength of that team. And you almost take it for granted, and then you see Saturday, boy, they just weren't the same. Or at least that's how I felt. You've seen them a lot more. What was your view?
I ran into a player and their family on Saturday night, and I guess the way that they described it, and I'm paraphrasing a little bit, was that, this was really an example of a team of 18 and 19-year-olds playing up against a team full of 22 and 23-year-olds. Now, we all know that Brockport, have been building this program over time, but they have a lot of fifth-year guys. They have a lot of senior leaderships on that defense. And so it was, I think Hobart just got a little overwhelmed. That first play right off the bat, not even 13 or 14 seconds into it, just kind of knocked them back on their heels. And that stacked defense of theirs, the young Hobart offensive line never could really get off the ball. They just got dominated by the Brockport defensive line, and it was a long day for the Hobart offense. And part of the issues there, Hobart started pressing near the end, and one of the last plays of the first half that we had a front row seat. You could see Hoffman rolling out. He was about to get sacked, and he threw a ball up that I'm sure when he watched the film, he wished he had back. But senior strong safety, another fifth-year player, Matt Arita, was there, and he took it to the house. And after the game, we were able to track him down, and we talked to him about the defense and just this dominating performance that they had against the Statesmen.
Good. Senior strong safety, Matt Arita. You had the pick 6 today. Congratulations.
Congratulations, bud. Good.
Heck of a performance. I mean, I know that Coach Fox's defense has given Hobart troubles over the years, back when he was at Fisher, obviously now. I mean, what do you think it was today? I mean, you guys pretty much played a perfect game, all intents and purposes. Maybe you wanted the shutout possibly, but for the most part, you hold a program like Hobart to a single touchdown. You hold them to 124 total offensive yards.
Yeah, absolutely.
What'd you think?
I just think as a defense we're just so confident. I mean, we returned 9 starters, and we talked about it all of camp. I mean, just going against our offense every day, going against guys like Tyree, JoJo, Hubbs, Benson every day. It really just makes the game so much easier, and we pride ourselves on competition in our program, and we get it every day. So coming out here, it really makes a huge difference, and it's easy for us.
You make it look easy. I don't know about how easy it really is. Were you surprised a little bit, though, in terms of some of the holes that Hobart seems to have on their team right now? It doesn't seem to be fully reloaded compared to last year.
Yeah, we knew they lost their All-American quarterback, All-American receiver. So that's tough to replace in any program. But I just think we didn't know really. We weren't too sure what they were going to have, but we prepared like they had Sweeney and Shed. So, for us, it didn't really matter who they had out there.
Keith McMillan asked us a question. I'm curious to see what your view is. Is Brockport that good? Is Hobart not that good? Is it something in the middle right now?
I think it's so early in the season. It's tough to tell. We're still just going to try to find our identity as a team, as a defense. So I think, Hobart's definitely got some talented kids on their team. So I think maybe, graduating a lot of kids. They got some younger guys in there, and then, they'll, get better as the season goes on. But I think right now we're just confident in ourselves and our team, and we're just playing hard.
Yeah. Next week you have Ithaca, who you guys know from your from their Empire 8 days. They've jumped ship to the Liberty League, but they're still on the schedule. You know the Bombers pretty well. They're always a tough out. You're going to Butterfield, which is one of the most picturesque, an old school stadiums with the grass field. What are your thoughts, kind of thinking ahead on that one?
We played them last year. They had a new coach last year, and they had that young quarterback come in during our game.
Wahid Nabi.
Finish out the season. So, and he made some plays against us. So we know they have their All-American receiver. They got some weapons. So, it's a tough task for us. So we got to get ready, and we just got to go to practice, and we got to get prepared.
Shout-outs. We still allow you to do them we're live here. Yeah. So go ahead, give some shout-outs.
I'll give some shout-outs to our whole coaching staff, especially our defense. Coach Fox, Coach Blau, Coach Williams, Coach Miller. They did a great job today, and definitely shout-out to my family and my parents for making the trip up.
Some of the family right here waiting for you on the side, so we won't hold you up any longer. Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Yep. That was defensive back Matt Arita of the Brockport Golden Eagles. Hey, to clarify one thing from earlier, just confirmed Delaware Valley's only undefeated regular seasons in the last 8 years were in 2017 last year, obviously, and 2011. And there was no undefeated regular season since 2011 before last year for Del Val. So the answer really is squarely Hobart, 2012, 2013, 2014. But Matt Arita and company have made sure that 20... Yeah, true, exactly right. But Matt Arita has helped make sure that Hobart can't lay that claim to fame in 2018-2019 because 2018 has a loss already for the Hobart Statesmen. And somebody else that had a big role in this was a player that I thought we'd see run a lot more than he did. He only ran, I believe, 3 times in the game officially. That was Joe Germinerio, the quarterback, junior quarterback of his team. And we do talk to him about that question about running versus passing in that game. But you had to be impressed with the arm of Joe Germinerio, like me, I think, throughout that day, and his receivers for that matter.
Yeah, I mean, it was pretty obvious to tell why a lot of folks out there at a national level refer to him as probably the best quarterback in Division III. I mean, he didn't have an incompletion until a couple of minutes before the end of the first half. I think he did 19 of 21 in the first half. He finished, I think, 24 out of 27, over 300 yards. I mean, just long touchdown. He did it all. I mean, he did the quick passes. He did the long bombs. He did the checkdowns. I mean, he played literally a perfect game. Really, the only thing you could probably ding Brockport on is that they had the one fumble early in the first quarter, ended up not really, affecting the game whatsoever. There was one, I did hear one of the Brockport touchdowns. Supposedly there were 12 men on the field, but once again, when you're beating a team 42-0 at halftime, if that somehow, was an oversight by the officials, I don't think that would have had an impact on the game either. At the end of the day, Brockport looks like a team from the East that actually can, make another Final Four, maybe even a Stag Bowl run, which we haven't seen in a long time. So, you have to kind of tip the cap to them. They have a tough game coming up this weekend at Ithaca, who actually needed a couple defensive touchdowns to give them a kind of a more resounding win over what seems like a more scrappy St. Vincent's team than maybe we gave them credit for. But that should be an interesting battle down there on the edges of the Cayuga, Frank, up in Butterfield, one of the few grass stadiums still left out there, and a reunion of old Empire 8 foes and pretty local teams. So should be a good game there also.
Well, one of the answers to my question earlier about ranking for Brockport is, can they handle Ithaca the same way they handled Hobart? If the answer is yes, you'll see them keep rolling up my ballot. If the answer is no, it's a close game, I think they're justified where they are. If not, maybe slightly lower. We'll see what happens with it. You got to play and keep your position. It's a week-to-week decision as voters go here. But first, Joe Germinerio.
Congratulations.
Thank you, man.
Thanks for
finally meeting you in person.
Yeah.
He really exists, Joe. He really exists.
What a game.
Yeah.
Whew.
And so tell us about this game. I mean, were you nervous coming in? What were your thoughts before we even took a snap? Were you thinking, could it be a letdown scenario with a team like Hobart? Where were you mentally before the first snap?
We were ready to go. We were sharp all year, or the first 2 weeks in camp, and we were hungry to get out there. We wanted to avenge that loss and wanted to pick up where we left off, and we felt we did a good job of that from the first play of scrimmage, giving our guy a chance to get going, and that kind of propelled us the rest of the way.
I saw him about, a month ago or so, just before preseason started, and you were chomping at the bit back then with your brother John, who did not get the start today, unfortunately, with Union, but the team did win.
What was the final?
30-7. Will Bellamy had a great day.
Coach
Steve Potter, the offensive coordinator.
JP's real. I didn't know JP was real. I thought he was imaged in. Huh?
He is. He's just a robot.
Too, buddy.
Photo?
All right, before you run out of here, I gotta wait.
He's the Nick Bainter of Brockport right there.
You're not going to get off the hook. So, Coach, was that 77-yard bomb play? Like, you knew that was going to be the first play of the game, or is
It's
it
all
something?
Coach Mangoni.
Yeah.
It's all Coach Mangoni. I'm offensive coordinator entitled.
Okay.
The guy that calls the plays, makes the plays happen is Coach Mangoni. But we said what, Tuesday that was going to be the first play?
We usually
Monday?
we script the first 3.
No, the first play was in a lot earlier this week than usual.
What are you guys, the San Francisco 49ers of the 80s and 90s there, scripting your offensive plays?
We're going to stretch the field. We're going to stretch the field.
Man.
Yeah.
Well, thank you.
Thank you for all your help.
56-7, did you ever see that happening?
No, I mean, I don't know. We just wanted to go out there. We were really excited to just go play another opponent. We didn't end up scrimmaging anyone else. A lot of these other teams did. We had 2 inter-squad scrimmages, and we were just chomping at the bits. We didn't know what the outcome was going to be. We were just ready to go play another opponent, and it worked out in our favor, obviously.
So, Joe, with kind of with the fast start, I mean, there was the early touchdown, but then on your second series there was the fumble. Was there any thought on the sideline like, oh, here we go, or is it just you guys knew you have so much confidence in this defense with so many returning starters, so many All-Americans? Is it kind of like, no big deal, we'll just get the ball back in a few minutes?
Yeah, obviously every possession we want to capitalize on good field position, and we didn't know if Tyree scored or not, but we'll have to look at it on film. But kind of you answered my question, really. We are so confident in that group.
Yeah.
You have Lawrence Jenkins made his first start today. Number 32 had a great game. Alex West off the edge. Matt Szymanski coming back. Matt Arita had a great game today. He's another fifth-year guy coming back. So there's a plethora of talent. You got Austin Dean in the middle. I mean, the depth we have at D-line to linebacker to secondary, it's the best we've seen and best we've had. It's even better than last year. So we have so much confidence in that group.
Yeah.
But the strange thing about you today is you only had 3 carries, I believe, for 9 yards. We usually talk about you being the magician. There was concerns about the offensive line. Would you be able to be exactly? So you end up going 24 for 27 for 343 passing, 3 touchdowns in the air. This is not necessarily a Joe Germinerio-esque performance that, let's say, the folks at D3Football.com would have, expected. We didn't necessarily expect it. Did you see yourself as being limited in the run in a game like this, maybe because of your line or because of the defensive line of Hobart? What was the mentality here for maybe a pass-first approach to this game?
So the game plan was not for me to run the ball. We know the ends. When we go inside zone, we're going to read that backside defensive end. He likes to sit, so it was a lot of give reads there. And a lot of times when I'm scrambling trying to make plays, I'm not looking to run. I'm looking to extend a play and throw the ball downfield. So, there was only one time the DN crashed and I carried it. And then I think I had a couple carries from scrambling just from throwing the ball. So the game plan is not for me to run. We have a ton of weapons on the outside. I mean, we had Justin Morrison played great.
Hubbard was amazing. He was just lights out, man.
So we have a ton of weapons. Obviously, we talked about the defense with their depth. We have a ton of offensive depth from running back to receiver to our O-line, really.
The meat of their schedule this year, comparatively to last year, is really up front. You and I were talking about this, JB, and maybe we should ask him about what's coming up here, I guess.
Yeah, well, at Ithaca next week, you know those guys. I mean, obviously took it to them last year. They've had a rookie quarterback. Nabi's gotten a lot better. That team's gotten a lot better. So it's probably not going to be the same type of game as you saw last season. You're going down to Butterfield. What are your some initial thoughts on playing the Bombers?
Yeah, again, kind of answer my question. I was reminding guys after late in the fourth quarter that we have to understand that this QB is not is going to be a little better than what we saw at Hobart. Nothing against them. I just feel like he's played. He won the Rookie of the Year in that conference, and he's going to look to have a really good second season. So we know it's going to be a dogfight down there. We're on the road, on a grass field. We haven't, we're not. I don't think it'll be too big of an issue. But
nice turf one here.
Ithaca won today against St. Vincent, 38-14. Not exactly an opponent that you would think would have challenged them anyway, but they put up 38 against them.
Well, 38-14
against St. Vincent.
Okay. Yeah, but back to your question, it's going to be a dogfight. We know. We only won one game. If the season stopped today, we have 0 conference wins and we are 1-0.
Yeah.
Just because we won by X amount of points, that did not give us 3 wins. It's 1 win. And we have 11 weeks to go.
Yeah.
And there may be some distance between the top to bottom teams here, or top to middle teams in the Empire 8, because we see Washington and Jefferson beat St. John Fisher 37-12. A lot of people thought that St. John Fisher would place a little bit more in that game. So, I mean, what is the view of the conference? You're only a couple of games away from starting up conference play here. Are you ready for that flavor? But first, Ithaca. I always have to think.
One week at a time,
Ithaca feels like an Empire 8 team, though, still to me, because of the moving last year officially.
Yeah.
But I mean, you ready for this? Is this kind of like that? You said you guys didn't scrimmage. Did this feel like upper end scrimmage type situation for the regular season? How did you approach it in that respect?
Yeah, I mean, back to what you said earlier, we're not looking ahead and worrying about what other teams are doing in their non-conference play. We're worried about Ithaca right now. And then the following week, St. Lawrence. We can't look ahead and just say, this team won by this amount or they lost to them. Oh, that means when we play them that we should take care of business. We're not worried about that. We are 1 week at a time, and that's what helped us last year, where we took it 1 week at a time from week 1 to week 10, and then the postseason came around, and we took it 1 week at a time.
That's French for Frank. You're the only jerk that's thinking about 5 weeks in advance right now.
Yeah, exactly.
And week 1, no less.
He's baiting me.
Yeah,
I'm not baiting you. I wouldn't do such a thing to you, Joey. Where did this come from? There's a rumor.
She every game she tries to bring up either garbage bread or big buffalo chicken dip.
There you go.
Well, I appreciate that. That will go great for the 3.5-hour ride home tonight.
Yep.
Shout out.
That was for distracting you during under center goal line there. I didn't say hello earlier.
Literally
busy.
Literally, I'm hiding by the upright, the goalpost, whatever it is, and he sees me there. And as he's about to bark out the play, he's like, "Frank Rossi in the house." I'm like, So like, Joe, call your play.
That's great. That's great.
Thank you for that, though. You get shout-outs as always.
I just want to shout out all the coaches that work extremely hard and put together a great game plan for us, and every teammate talked about it. You guys played great, and even when the ones came out, 2s and 3s picked it up, and you guys did great. I mean, you guys worked so tremendously hard day in, day out, and shout out to you guys, man.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Congratulations,
Nice
56-7.
Thank you, man.
So, Coach Potter now knows you're real. Joe Germinerio now knows you're real. You're not just a hologram on their screen every week. And I'm glad that you were able to come and join me in this whole situation up at Brockport. You and I were a little surprised by how rural it is, because we think of it as the Rochester area, which is very urban-esque area.
I know. When I was driving into town, I was like, I kept waiting to see this, the cityscape. And nope, it was very, very rural farm, typical upstate New York farm country, and nice campus, big, beautiful football stadium. But yeah, definitely much more of a rural situation. But hey, they've got this NFL style locker rooms now. The beautiful field, beautiful stadium. There was a big crowd there to cheer on the home team, and they gave the home crowd a lot to cheer about, because they were just putting up touchdowns left and right.
So, JB, let's close this one out. I want your thought on one thing, though. I know you're a Hobart guy through and through, okay? We get that. It wasn't a great day for Hobart on that field. Did you at least enjoy yourself doing an on-the-road segment, basically, and the Game Day Live and all that stuff?
Yeah, other than the fact that my face looks like a tomato in some of the video, I guess I need to invest more in skincare, which I've been pretty good at, especially living in Florida and California all these years. But other than the sunburn, Frank, it was a lot of fun, and it was enjoyable to have that access to the field and to be able to talk to some of the players and coaches along the way. Obviously, didn't get a chance. I was hoping to connect with Coach DeWall either after the game or on campus while I was in town, but that didn't work out. Hopefully we can have him on the show soon. They have a big game against SUNY Morrisville, who won their opener, and certainly it's not a team that Hobart can look past. They're going to have to try to put this one behind them and just kind of focus on moving forward. They kind of ran into probably one of the best teams that we'll see all season, and they're a young team. They have a lot of young players. There's guys that are just going to have to learn from their mistakes and try to play better against the Mustangs on Saturday in Geneva.
For as much of the drive and the work that comes with doing these types of things, segments or the live stuff that we did, I think you understand as much as anybody now what motivates and drives a guy like me up here to do it every week when we get the opportunity and schedules allow. I'll be doing it at Albright coming up on Saturday, not in the live per se event, but more on videos being dropped here and there and interviews like we did at Wesley Montclair last year. It's a fun experience to meet new people, to see some old friends. I said it on Twitter earlier today. It's just a really fun thing to do, and there's a lot of good football. Our goal here in the Huddle at the end of the day is to humanize this game, to make you know who these folks are, to give you a better grasp on just how human they all are, like we did with Coach Strass possibly last year, not even realizing it. Yeah, we didn't know him like we did until we did the on the road segment, and after that we loved him, and what happened. Yeah, but we forged a close bond with Wesley through that, and one that will last for as long as the show does, I'm pretty sure. And that's what we try to do here. Brockport, Springfield have been great. I was joking with somebody from Springfield, I won't name names, and they were joking with me by text earlier today saying, hey, I think Brockport just scored again. So that was the weekend we had. The games weren't necessarily tight, but the relationships and the fun we had are irreplaceable at the end of the day. And great to see you again, my friend, and your lovely wife, Jen, who was a trooper, a major trooper on Saturday in that sun and heat with us. But it's a memory we'll have, and can't wait to have you back up here at some point. So don't be a stranger.